Welcome to another edition of Strange New Pod. I'm your Fleet Admiral and host, Julian Brown, alongside the best bridge crew this side of the big goodbye. That's right, Praetor Giraffe is here, still just a little sad she didn't get to wear the cosplay that she's wearing right now in Hall H, but she's wearing it now, so that's all that matters.
Okay.
It's okay. It's okay. And Captain MC is here, wondering if she too can get a light from a fireless fireplace. Welcome back.
Because there's so many better places.
So many better places.
Like, just go into the freaking kitchen. That place doesn't have an electric stove. I know it.
Giraffe's already getting compliments. Won't get your face burned off. Welcome back. Welcome aboard. How we doing, guys?
Hustling. Recording hours and hours of podcasts.
I feel like we have recorded so many hours of podcasts in the past 2 weeks. It's a little insane. But
everybody's like, she works at a school. She's not working in summer. I'm working full time.
we're all working. Let's see what's going on this week. Well, we are reviewing episode 304 of Strange New Worlds, a space adventure hour. That's right. What happens when La'an is tasked with rigorously testing Starfleet's proposed holodeck system? How does Scotty handle the pressure of it all? Is Amelia Moon able to break the case or the holodeck? Definitely broke Hawk's holomatrix, so we know that already. We're gonna break it all down. But first, MC, we need to thank our amazing Patron Collective members at the Ready Room level and above, please.
Thank you to Simon Steger, Jeff Reeve, Tallulah, Jen Stein, Tina Alexander, Joe Saporito, Ken Ngui, Tatako Nagumo, Fernanda Nogales, SMK, Colin Davidson, Shatterhand 2049, Jesco, Michael Graham, Emily and Travis, Maggie Light, Wayne Ritz, Scone of Arc, Sean, Jay Howard, Mehalani Uchiyama, Matt Harker, Joshua Lewis, Tara Poland, Slope 74, Rude Parakeet, Adam Sanders, Amy the Magic Snail, Aaron W., Carl Angoli, Michael Kwan, Caitlin, Elizabeth Dean, Jim McMahon, Sedano 317, Puka Hair, 3 Fries Short, Kate Tip, Tripping the Read Alert over a Pineapple, Sean Manning, Asher at the Bat, Chris Waterman, RHCB, Martin Simpson, Norman Buckwald, David Prime Hildebrand, Taryn J. Robinson, Rob Greiner, Eric the Red, Trouble, Jamie Roberts, Honeyberry, Paul Taylor Pitt, Brett Jones, Michelle P., Margin Walker 82, Melissa Bartell, Jesse Robbins, Kim, Chris Finoglio, Felix Dax, Kelly McKinnon, and Chief Petty Officer Snuggles.
Yay, MC, that might have been your best one yet. That was awesome. You did a good job.
My mouth ended up getting very tired.
That's
there.
understood.
A lot of people.
That's a lot of people. That's a lot. I still think it was your best one, even with one
Thank
flub.
you.
Well done. Well done. And a big hello to our dear friend and composer of the Strangely World score. Nami's in the chat. Hi, Nami.
Hey, Nami.
It is good to have you in the chat.
Fantastic work tonight.
Fantastic work tonight. I would also say fantastic work last week. That was one of my favorite scores for an episode. Speaking of other folks, a big thank you before we keep going to our Badmirals, our EPs who keep our holodecks on their own dedicated power source. Simon Stager, Chris Waterman, Tara Poland, Brett Jones, Dana, Matt Harker, Jim McMahon, Maggie Light, and Fef. Thank you guys so much. Y'all freaking rock. Let's get through some quick news. Draft and I don't stop podcasting because it's what we do. We were live last night and we did our full SDCC 2025 wrap up. It was a lot of fun. We talked about the Lodge. We talked about puppets. We talked about Khan. We talked about Starfleet Academy. And
about my wedding.
We talked about your wedding to Spock. This is Mrs. Spock we have on the show now. It was really fun. So if you haven't checked that out, it's on YouTube. It's wherever you find your podcasts. Go check that out. And then, Giraffe,
Yes.
I had the pleasure of filming your interview with Scotia Boyd at Comic-Con.
Yes, that was okay. So, you know how I like makeup.
No, not you.
No?
A little bit. I always heard such great thing about Scotia Boyd from people who worked with her and people who got their makeup done by her from Bernadette Kraft. And so when I saw her name at San Diego Comic-Con, good job to Impact 24 were sending us the emails because I had not clocked that. I reached out to know if we could have a short interview, and we could. And it was just so interesting. I got to nerd out a little bit on, how we achieve the style and the visuals of Star Trek. And I know some people are ship people, some people are decor people. I'm a makeup person, okay? But it was just so interesting. Also, season 2 is so gorgeous when it comes to costuming and makeup. Stranger World is always gorgeous when it comes to costuming and makeup, as we're gonna see this week, right? But it just, for me, it was really important to highlight the work of makeup artists that are not VFX artists, because we very often like center around, the Klingon prosthetics and all this, but not beauty makeup or just, bruise and cuts and all this, which is a lot of work on Star Trek. So I hope you'll like the interview. It's pretty short.
Yeah, it's like a little under 18 minutes, and it's really good. It's really, really good.
Yeah. But yeah, I was really happy. It was one of highlights of my San Diego Comic-Con.
I butted in once because I had to ask a question, and it was just like delightful listening to you two. I had smiles the entire time. That is dropping this Monday for our amazing patron collective. So if you're a patron, look forward to that, and it'll drop that Wednesday for everybody else. So yeah, look forward to that.
I did a few of interview. I interviewed like the designer of Al Hoffer, who does like Star Trek inspired clothes. I nerded on my stuff.
You did.
A lot,
you did.
which is good because San Diego Comic-Con is also made for that. You will meet everybody there.
Yeah. Yum Yum Pod is still trying to will the costume episode into existence. We will definitely do a costuming episode.
Definitely.
You don't have to ask me. I'm game.
Yep.
Are you kidding me? I can write a whole PhD about it.
Nice.
How long do you have?
How long? I mean, we're going to probably be like a 2.5 hour show for that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's all?
That's all?
That's the intro.
That's just me. You add MC, it's going to be 5 hours.
Speaking of MC, you dropped a little something. I don't think people have seen it yet in the store.
I did. If people want to go over to our merch store at Big Cartel, you can see our new shirt, which is our Spock Imagination shirt. So that is a silhouette of Spock with imagination written on it.
It is awesome. It is epic. It is available on our store right now. strangenewpod.bigcartel.com. Go check it out. Let's see. That is it. Did I miss anything? Are we good? Should we go into the strange new loop? Yes, I think we should. Let's do it. So MC told me that she read the entire outline, and Draft told me she did not read the entire outline, which is
What's the opposite?
nothing new, which is nothing new for anybody. So, someone will know the strange loop and someone won't. So if you could write a holodeck episode, what is your wildest idea? And chat, let us know as well. Go ahead, MC.
I have thought about this, and I think my wildest idea is I would love to do a supernatural horror movie. Like I want, and I don't want like this to be a holodeck gone wrong thing. I just want like people to, get, I mean, I guess people got killed off one by one in this, but I want like the supernatural Freddy Krueger, Halloween type situation with Star Trek people in it. And I want them to not really be able to get into the mindset of it because they're such that rigid Starfleet mentality. They need Jamie Kennedy from Scream to explain the rules to them.
Nice. I like it. Draft, do you need more time to think? Because I could go.
No, I have a question.
Of course you do.
Is that like if I write a Star Trek episode
Yes.
or if I have a holodeck and I can do whatever the fuck I
No,
want?
if you write an episode, if you were like, I have a holodeck episode pitch.
I go ahead then.
All right.
I know what I would do with the holodeck.
I don't think that Star Trek has tackled dinosaurs enough. Okay, we have the weird episode of Voyager where it turns out dino,
Astronauts.
yeah, whatever. It's a funky ass episode that I do enjoy quite a bit, but it's still weird.
It's a good episode.
It is. Don't get me wrong. It's still funky as hell. It is. Come on, Draft.
It's not a bad episode.
It's not a bad episode.
Actually, also scientifically, there's some error here and there, but it's an interesting premise.
It is. No, it is. And I really enjoy it. But I'm talking about Jurassic Park.
Yeah, you want to do Jurassic Park.
I need holodeck gone wrong, running from dinos, have some velociraptors, have some T-Rexes. I want to see red shirts get chomped up and eaten, or yellow shirts, whatever era we're in. But I need a dinosaur holodeck episode. I've needed a holodeck dinosaur episode. So I hope that, in some future Trek, that's what we get. Because that's something my kid would enjoy watching with me too. He doesn't have a lot of Star Trek episodes where it's like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Stop giving IDs to Strange New World, please. They
Too
don't
late.
need more
Too late.
IDs.
It's already happened.
Oh yeah, I will say what I will do with the holodeck because I think it could be a good episode anyway. The thing that is interesting about AI, because it's AI, right? The holodeck is AI, is that it's able to take every single little things that we know and put it into something comprehensible and that we can look at and we can walk through. So I think it would be such a great tool for archaeology. So right now and before, we used to scan whole pieces of walls, right, and try to build them in virtually to be able to see how they fell, what they would have looked like. And I feel that the holodeck could just compute all this and just rebuilt, which
DS9 did an episode like that, I believe.
DS9 did an episode. The Orville did an incredible episode with that.
Oh,
with the
that's
telephone.
right. Yes.
Where they took everything from the telephone and just recreated a whole era. And I feel it's such an interesting application of the holodeck, is that ability to finally be able to walk to streets and see those places, when until now I just had my mind, that's all. So that's what I would do. And I think that the Orville for me made the perfect holodeck episode with that. They went a little bit weird with like the love story, but I think that this idea of just using and compiling everything from past era that we have and then trying to rebuild it without the bias of our own imagination would be really interesting. But that's not a good episode. That's just
it could be a good episode. It could be a good episode.
It would work for a dinosaur.
It would. It totally would.
But then you realize that they're like as big as a chicken, and it's very boring.
Don't do that to me.
I'm
Please,
sorry.
Don't do that. That's not nice.
Like you can punt. I will say it again and again. You can punt a velociraptor, not a Utah raptor. Utah raptor will eat your face, but a velociraptor,
Facts.
you can kick it.
Facts.
That's why you have Spock in that episode, so he can point out the inaccuracies.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
We have some good answers in the chat. First from Colin, mine would be relatively boring. I'd want the Great Smoky Mountains so I could hike there without leaving home. That's if you had a holodeck. If you had to pitch a holodeck episode.
Nobody wants that story. They want to
the Smoky Mountains, right? Exactly.
Holodeck.
I mean, that's Kirk who wants to do that, or
That's
Shatner.
true. Eric the Red, historical recreation of the Sundering on Vulcan. Okay, all right, okay.
We're all going like those are the Voyagers Riker.
Yeah,
We're just like
100%,
we're gonna recreate an era and walk through it.
Oh man, I think like Doctor Who Strange New World should have a Christmas special. We need Spock to learn about Christmas. No, Spock agreed with Yum Yum Pod needs to light a menorah.
Yeah, Spock is Jewish.
Spock is a
Spock is
Jew.
Jewish.
Spock is a Jew. Fellow Hebe. Let's go. Yes. Congressional Baseball fan, a cooking episode in the kitchen and the big reveal at the end, it was the holodeck the whole time.
Stop it.
Okay.
Those are the Voyagers again.
Loving it. Jedi Cat, my holodeck episode would be the Stranger World cruise as costumed superheroes, going a little Fantastic Four, a little MCU. All right. Joshua Patton, my holodeck episode would be basically TNG Lower Decks, but with the most popular holodeck characters. All right. We have Die Hard, like Trek style from Dana, or maybe Dragons, which could be good. I like this idea of Star Trek Iron Chef quite a bit. So many to go through. A found footage episode, Rick Hernandez says. I like that quite a bit.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they could do that without the holodeck. Let's do a found footage Star Trek episode. We've got Beto, and he's got the camera.
Yeah. Maybe we have one this season. We don't know yet.
I'm gonna say it one more time because I want to will this into existence. I want a Charlie work episode of Star Trek where we just follow Scotty, a day of Scotty just fucking around. And like, if you've not watched this episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, it's a great episode of TV. I think it has the longest shot they ever did in it. We just follow Charlie through his whole day of work. It's insane. I want Star Trek to do this. Do it.
And do it like the IT crowd style too. Which I think could be like the IT crowd, that BBC show or British. I don't know if it was on BBC. Yeah. Have you plugged it back in yet? So good. Let's get into Scotty's Day. That's right. Let's get into our review of episode 304 of Strange New Worlds, A Space Adventure Hour. Our order tonight will go MC, Giraffe, and myself. Let's get right into the cold open. The episode begins with TOS and Paul Wesley doing his absolute best. Shatner. Space Adventure Hour even gives us a classic TOS opening. What did we think about the 1960s cold open, MC?
Well, I think that if you were going to do an episode with actors based off Star Trek, you absolutely had to show the show at some point because, I mean, otherwise people would be disappointed. I do think that there is a double-edged sword. You have to show it. But then there's also so many people have done it at this point that it's like it's cliche, but I mean they couldn't not. And I mean I do love how they did it. Paul Wesley did a fantastic job with the Shatnering. It was almost like, it's not just the voice, because people always do the voice, but like the facial expressions, like, and the way they lit them. I mean, it was all totally Shatner. I wasn't too sure about what, I can't remember Erica's character's name. I guess she was the doctor.
Leo, she was the doctor. Lee Wood.
Yeah. I wasn't quite sure what was going on there. I think my biggest problem was that it seemed very small because it's just the three of them. And Lee is supposed to be the doctor, but she's also piloting the ship. So is it just the three of them in space? But no, I mean, it was fantastic. It was TOS dialed up to 11.
Yeah, agreed. Giraffe?
I love episodes that start by, how can I say that? Like mise en abîme. I don't know how you say that in English, but like meta, kinda.
Yeah.
So you're watching your person watching TV, and they are in the TV too. Like I like these little, sidestep that TV can make, where you have this reflection about being a spectator and like suspension of disbelief and all this. So I was really interested by the fact that it was a fake Star Trek-esque show shown on Star Trek, while I'm here to watch Star Trek, but I end up watching this other show. So I was like, this is interesting. It is a pastiche, so it's putting me as it's asking me to reflect as my own role as a spectator, as an audience of a sci-fi show made in the 60s. And I like having these little, reflection on what am I in the big scale of this thing on TV. I think it was very, for me, Twilight Zone-esque, where you're suddenly put in a position where you're an audience of something that you didn't choose to watch. So I like the cold opening. I thought it was gonna go somewhere. It didn't go anywhere, but for like that fraction of time, I was like, oh, what are we doing here? It's a little bit like Supernatural did it, where they are basically ending into a show that is basically filming their own lives.
The French Mistake, yeah. French Mistake is the name of the Supernatural episode, and because I'm a huge Supernatural nerd.
Buffy kind of did it also, where like, is everything happen a dream? Am I crazy? So I like this episode where suddenly you're shaken out of, I came here to watch Star Trek, and I ended up watching something that is not Star Trek, but is Star Trek, but then what is what? And I think it's a good reflection to have with the holodeck, and with anything that is kind of, this is not a pipe. It's an image of a pipe. And I like that this is not Star Trek. It's an image of Star Trek. I think they didn't go anywhere with that idea, but I think it was a great idea. I was here for it.
I kind of wonder if the connection might have been stronger if they hadn't immediately gone for that clue murder mystery in a mansion kind of situation, and they had just had the murder mystery at the studio.
I'm going to plug that. Yes, absolutely. And I'm going to plug that book again, but read Red Shirt. That book is
It's such a good book.
About people in Star Trek suddenly becoming sentient, that they are in a TV show and that they are here to die. It's a great book, and also puts you into the reflection of, well, we watch all this horrible thing happening to people for our own like entertainment, and what happens when these are real people, and what happens when you are given the opportunity to be in charge of your own narrative. Until now, the narrative was told by somebody else, but what happens when you can handle your own narrative? Great book.
John Scalzi is a great author. Check out Red Shirts and read his other books too.
Old
'cause they're
Man
nuts.
Wars, great book too. We should do a review of Red Shirt.
Yes.
Because I've talked about that book so many times on that podcast.
Y'all recorded, I'll edit.
Okay.
Nice. I thought the cold open was great. You know, just like you guys are talking about episodes, I kind of done this before. SG1 did it a little bit with its 200th episode, which was really fun. I thought this was great. I love the brain cells bit. It still kills me. Paul Wesley maybe is a better Shatner than Shatner. Just saying.
I mean, I love that we have both of the other Kirks doing Shatner, because Chris Pine did Shatner on SNL.
He did.
So we got both of them doing it now, and I love them both. So
yeah, no, this was so much fun. And I love that they took it a step further and like gave us the actual TOS intro with the ship and the title card. And like it was really fun, and it really brought you into the episode. I want to keep going right into this. Talk about our A-plot computer begin program. Pike and number 1 give La'an a big assignment. We wonder what that could be. While Enterprise studies a neutron star, La'an needs to test out Starfleet's possible answer to ships going longer than 5-year missions. And that is the holodeck, or the recreation simulator, or whatever the hell they were calling it at that point.
The recreation room.
The recreation room. Thank you. I would just like to mention that I am not right about my predictions often, but I was finally right. I was finally right about something. I called this that it was going to be the very early stages of if a holodeck is a feasible piece of technology. What did we think about La'an getting this task, MC?
I really liked this because it really kind of ties together a lot of the holodeck lore, because first of all, they call it the recreation room, which is what they called it on TAS when it appeared. I mean, it was like a much simpler version that couldn't render characters. It was just kind of environments, which it seems like that is like the bridge between this disastrous test and then what we get in TNG. It's like they're going to be like, okay, so we could do this as long this will take up less processing power. And I mean, I'll bring this up now because I don't know if I'll be able to fit this in later. This episode actually explains Voyager, and that makes me so happy because Voyager was always able to use the holodeck, and it drove me nuts because they always had the rationing of electricity or whatever. Mm-hmm. And this episode does finally explain in universe that if the holodeck is like plugged right into the ship, it's gonna kill it. So the fact that they were very intentional with all of their holodeck lore. This is not just we're just going to do the holodeck because we want to do it. Enterprise. This is nicely establishing a timeline for it. Now, Encounter at Farpoint does kind of suggest that it is brand new technology, but I'm frankly going to give that a pass because they were trying to establish it for the audience. And it could be that the holodeck on the Enterprise is just better rendered than like anything that's on space stations or whatever. Because I do think that while it's not going to be on ships until like the time of the D, that the holodeck technology is going to be around. So yeah, this is great. I like that there are 2 plots going on, even though one of them's really very small. They're just very divergent and then come together. And La'an's great to do this. Oh, and I forgot, it also does tie in the Discovery like battle simulators.
Yes.
Too.
Yep.
I like this for La'an because it does have that battle simulation thing where she would be somebody who would do that a lot. But then it leads to somewhere very light and frothy for her, which is, I think, going to be La'an's plot for this season. Her character arc is to not be so damn serious, and I love that for her.
Yeah, totally agree. I love where La'an's arc is going this season so much. Draft, what did you think about La'an getting this task?
When it happened, first of all, I was like, holy shit, Julian was right. I I watched this episode recently. I watched it last week, I think, and I was like, everybody was like, "It's a holodeck episode. Watch it." I was like, "Yeah, I have stuff to do." But I was like, "Wow, look at this, incredible! It's coming from my job." But
I can have one. I can have one. That's it.
I'm gonna compare this to that episode from which I don't remember the title in Enterprise, where they meet the creator of the transporters.
Oh yeah.
And you have all these, kind of like the ethic of science behind it and how and why. That was for me a little bit of a miss for the holodeck, because I'm that kind of a nerd. I want to know. I want to know who the fuck invented that and why and how does it work. So it scratched the itch a little bit, but not enough. For me, I like that it explained what happened in Picard, where everybody's dying and they just go into the holodeck. And I remember being, how the fuck is the holodeck still fucking working when the whole ship is down? Well, that's why. But also, big up to Picard for making something that's supposed to be fun into a coffin, basically.
Right. Oh my God.
We're gonna die at the bar, I guess. You remember that scene?
I do. Yeah. They were going to drink. They
do say that the holodeck has separated.
Its own dedicated power
servers.
system. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, then I'll accept this. I don't know about Lan. I'm here for new Lan, but also, I don't know. I kind of expected her to do something more badass, but I like that she has her little fandom and her little quirk, and that she reads. I mean, Janeway that goes on the holodeck to do her dumbass
Da Vinci?
Romance books.
No, the Victorian thing, like the Jane Eyre fantasy she has.
Yeah, her romance books.
Yeah, a romance book where she goes and basically is the woman in the attic. I'm like, girl, yes, let's go. So I'm here for Lon being obsessed with those kind of novels. And I like the fact also that it's not yet again what's his face? Sherlock Holmes. It's kind of a new thing. It's not a real detective, right? Is it?
No, I don't
No
believe
real
so.
books.
I don't think Dixon Hill was either. No.
Dixon Hill was not either,
No.
but I like that it's a female detective. I like that Lahan grew up with those, and that they were the book that got her out of a lot of misery, because I relate to that. I read book to get out of my daily life that suck, and I feel that if I could be this character on the holodeck, I would also do it. Is it the best way to test a holodeck? I don't know. They're like, push it to the limit. And she's like, I'm going to do a murder mystery. I'm like, girl, what? But, plot team, it's fine. Yeah, I like the premise. I don't know that I like the use of Lon necessarily to do that, but I think it works.
Yeah. No, and I think it works too. I liked them giving Lon this mission. I think about who else they would get to test the holodeck, and I don't know if I have an answer. Who else I would choose.
I have.
Oh, go ahead. Who?
I would give it to Erica.
Oh, okay.
Because everything that had happened and everything that was going on, I'd say, go test the thing and try to work out your problems. I don't know, your feelings.
That's fair.
That could have been also a very good Ortega's episode, in my opinion. And
Yeah, but Ortegas wouldn't kiss Spock.
No.
Yeah, okay,
No.
well, that's another thing. But yeah, I think it would have been a good Erica Ortega's episode.
Yeah.
With a totally different story and a totally thing, but I would have given that to Ortega's.
Yeah. Fair. I think Ortega's, if it isn't Lon, is probably the best option. Again, I do like it being Lon. I like that she gets excited, right? She's just giddy, and we don't ever really see that from Lon. And it was just really fun seeing her have fun. And I want to keep going on that, right? She figures out, and we're going to talk a lot more about Spock and Lon at the bottom. We're going to save that for the end. How she wants to test out the holodeck. Amelia Moon, right? This private detective whose stories, I guess, inspired La'an to become a security officer. Scotty and La'an set it up, and she walks into that awesome TNG style grid holodeck. I mean, how neat was it to see that set again, MC?
It was wonderful. It was nostalgic. And I will say on behalf of all WLWs that one, we're annoyed that there is another het romance, but thank you for the Amelia Moon costume, because just chef's kiss. It was wonderful. I love Scotty in. Hi there, sir. Sorry, my cat is climbing on my shoulder.
Hi, buddy.
Scotty was wonderful in this. His just nervous energy and trying to do everything himself and jumping around, and the whole, the only images we have that are high enough resolution are the rest of the crew. Of course they are, because we have an entire cast that we have to pay, so we're going to use them. And they're wonderful in it. It's just, this is such a warm hug and a bowl of soup for Star Trek, because holodecks have been around since 1987?
Yeah. Yep.
So the only series that they didn't appear in was TOS, and part of the problem with doing all of this prequel stuff is that it is something that is missing, something that has become a staple, so much so that we do have like this whole genre of Star Trek episodes, the holodeck episodes, that we have not been able to have. And we got to have one. And this is such a quintessential one that it just feels really good.
Nice. Giraffe, what'd you think about seeing the set again and the setup?
Sorry, I have Jean sending me a picture of her fancy dinner at Gen Con right now.
Oh, Jean. Hi, Jean.
Yeah,
I don't think she's listening. She's at a fancy dinner. I was not convinced about seeing the holodeck in Strange New Worlds. Is it a good episode? Is it a fun episode? It's a fun episode. I don't know. I like the holodecks, but also I'm kind of tired of holodeck episodes because they're always the same. It's like, I go to the holodeck, I do something fun, then the holodeck tries to kill me, and then I have to solve the thing, and then I get out. So was it a new holodeck episode of Star Trek? No. Was it fun to have a holodeck adventure? I have many holodeck adventures, so I was in. I don't have a choice. But also, did it bring anything new? No, except the fact that it explained why there are no holodeck in TOS, which I like that explanation. But that means that after them, nobody can do a holodeck episode. They're screwed.
That's okay, though. That's okay.
I mean, it is okay, but also I'm like,
Starfleet Academy could do a holodeck episode.
Absolutely. They do whatever they want.
I mean, they have to, because they've got Robert Picardo.
I love them, and they can do whatever they want. We'll give them many passes. But yeah, I am not a fan of holodeck episodes. Let that be out of here, because very often it's just a way to use different sets and to be like, yeah, he's trying to kill me. Like, name me a holodeck episode that is not, very few are not based onto that premise. Captain Proton, Bride of Chaotica, is the best holodeck one because it does not rely on that premise. It relies on the premise to discuss with aliens that you can only see in the holodeck, which I found fascinating. I like Data's Day also because that's the idea of what happens when they're sentient, and I like that too. But the rest basically is the holodeck is trying to murder me, and I need to finish the story. Good. I'm like, oh, I guess the creepiest one is the Voyager one with the weird kid story. I hate this one. I don't like holodeck episodes. Except right off Chaotica.
On Our Man Bashir, where the whole thing is, it's not that, well, I mean, I guess
Our Man Bashir is so good.
The safeties were turned off, but the thing is, it's like you could endanger the holograms because they were actually people. It's only a paper moon is technically a holodeck episode.
Oh yeah, I'll buy that. I am only interested in holodeck episodes when there is a reflection about what is real and what is not real. I will say that. The rest, it's fun. I'm not against it.
I would say The Big Goodbye gives you that as well.
Which one is The Big Goodbye?
The first
the
holodeck
first one.
episode.
That's the Dixon Hill one?
Dix Hill.
Oh, no, I don't like this one.
Oh, it's I think the best holodeck episode. Love that episode. We watched it today.
I feel Beverly Crusher was wasted in that episode.
I loved seeing the set again. It was just, yeah, I'm a TNG baby, so of course I loved it. I never liked like the wireframe set on Voyager. Give me the orange ugly grid all the time. It was great. Hearing computer begin program, the sound effects, everything. Like I really loved La'an's reaction. Whether like, oh my God, like I could smell the cigarettes. Like it's just a really cool moment, and I was so here for this. I agree with Draft partially. I don't love all holodeck episodes, but I love the good ones. I love the good ones, and there are, I think, many good ones. This is definitely going to be in that conversation. But it was just so cool seeing her in the costume. Spock's little comment about the game being afoot. Also, it would be unwise to smoke anywhere. Like about, I don't even remember the line, but it was wonderful.
It would be unwise to smoke in the holodeck or at all.
Or at all. Yes, exactly. Oh, it was so good. I loved this. So as I mentioned, La'an is immediately amazed by the accuracy of the holodeck. And we immediately get a TNG reference about Sherlock Holmes, as I mentioned. She meets Power Agent Joni Gloss Giraffe, who was played brilliantly by Celia Rose Gooding. La'an, or Amelia, does a fun little like voiceover, which is really wonderful, like any good murder mystery. And we meet the rest of the cast and crew of The Last Frontier. What did we think about seeing our Strange New World cast as versions of folks like Shatner, Lucille Ball, Gene Roddenberry, etc.? MC.
So I have to actually you first.
Sorry.
And that is the Spock Sherlock Holmes reference. It's actually a reference to, I want to say it's Star Trek 6 because
Chang.
Spock says, in the words of my ancestor, once you eliminate the impossible, whatever is left, however improbable is the truth, or whatever the line is. And in this, he actually confirms that he's talking about Arthur Conan Doyle being his ancestor rather than Sherlock Holmes, because that was a debate for a long, long time. And fun fact, Sherlock Holmes and Spock actually share a birth date, January 6th. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. This is just the weird things that are in MC's brain. Well, first of all, to actually like get back onto this episode properly, Uhura as Joni Gloss. Her costume is fire, and I'm so glad that Giraffe has put something together for it, because you look great.
Thank you.
And Celia is doing such a amazing job in this. I actually think she probably does the best job of anybody. I mean, Paul Wesley does a really good job with the shattening it up, but everybody's got a Shatner in them. But Celia,
I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult or what.
But Celia having to put together like this high-powered agent, and she, gets like the big speech in it. She does a lot. As for seeing everybody as these analogs of actual Star Trek people from the TOS era, I was talking to Jessie Earle about this a while back, and she reiterated it in her review today, that she actually kind of wished that things could have gone deeper into the Star Trek lore, which I kind of agree with. I think one of the fact that there was no Spock analog, or no Leonard Nimoy analog for the Shatner analog to bounce off of, because the Shatner Nimoy dynamic was such a huge part of the behind the scenes drama, does kind of, I feel there's something missing there without that. Now, I understand them not wanting to go too deep in the weeds
Too meta,
of the Star
yeah.
Trek lore,
Yeah.
because then it just becomes for people like us. But this was for people like us. And also because it is very much a celebration of Star Trek, that maybe they don't want to go too deep into the here's all of the dark shit that happened in Star Trek, and people were actually big assholes a lot of the time. But I loved seeing the representations of them, and it was very nice to have something that was very specifically for us. This reminded me of the great Deep Space Nine episode that's
God, with Cisco, right?
yeah, you know exactly
I
the one I'm
do.
talking about, where he's the writer.
Yes. Giraffe, help us.
What?
The DS9 episode where Cisco plays Benny.
Oh, Far Beyond the Stars.
Far Beyond the
Far
Stars.
Beyond the Stars.
Win trivia. Let's go.
I kept on wanting to say In the Pale Moonlight, but I'm like, no, that's the other brilliant
That's
Cisco
the other
episode.
one.
That one did have a lot of analogs for Star Trek in it. And I think that this is just kind of the evolution of that. And I really appreciated it.
Yeah, agreed. Jesse in the chat also wrote Sully's speech at the end got me. That was a great speech. Yeah, agreed. Giraffe, what did you think about seeing everybody playing, basically the execs and actors who made actual Star Trek, what it is?
I think it was fun. I think they did a good job. I like that it's not 1-to-1 exactly. Like,
No,
there's
definitely
a bit
not,
of
yeah.
Gene Roddenberry, there's a bit of a Harlan Ellison, there's a little bit of DeForest Kelly, there's a little bit of everything, left and right, right? I like that. I would not have liked this is Leonard Nimoy, this is Shatner, this is Roddenberry, this is, you know what I mean? Like a 1-to-1. I think it was enough mixed that you could catch things left and right and be like, oh, I know that story. I know what they're referencing here. But that it was not a pastiche or it was not an imitation. I think that Paul Wesley did a good job at the Shatner intonations. But I like the fact that he was not exactly Shatner.
No, he
also
definitely
in the
wasn't, yeah.
storyline. So I kind of like that. I don't like copy paste, let's be honest. So I like the fact that it was more an homage to like in general the backstories, and also a little bit of like a nod to the fans who know these TOS backstories, because I don't think it's everybody. I'm a huge TOS nerd, so I got a lot of those references, I think. But there are things where I'm like, I know it's a reference, but I don't know what they're talking about. So I like that. And I like that it was also very respectful in a way. I don't want to say respectful, but
No, but I get what you're
Right.
saying. It was, yeah.
artistically done, and not historically done. It was showing that they had fun. I loved how they kind of embodied the essence of some of those characters without copying them. Like Rebecca Romaine was obviously Lucille Ball, but even if she was a redhead, she didn't have like the Lucille Ball haircut or the makeup or the attitude that we know from I Love Lucy. So I like that. I like that it was easy to clock while being subtle.
Yeah.
And Johnny
sorry.
Gloss. Was that the rest of the question?
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah.
Yeah. Johnny Gloss, I was kind of disappointed that Celia didn't get to play anybody, because I don't think that was anybody. I think that was a made-up character, and I was kind of sad about this because Nichelle Nichols was a big person, like a big, like on the set, everybody knew her, right? And I felt that they could have gone somewhere with what the black actors had to go through on TOS, and the whole question about race on TOS, and how Gene Roddenberry really wanted them to be here without dragging too many problems to the show. Yet again, Stranger Worlds is like shying away from really hitting the big things that they could hit because, yeah, it's fun. Shatner speaks like that and can say a line. That is fun. But there's also a lot of TOS things that would have been so interesting to tell the fans, you know, because I feel that episode was for many fans maybe a first look into the drama of making TOS. And I was kind of disappointed that it went nowhere and that they literally took Celia out of the narrative and Johnny Claus out of the narrative by being that kind of meta character that he's here to reflect as the fan, kinda, and not as part of making Star Trek. And I thought I was disappointed in this because you know how adamant I am about talking about Black fans and like Black women making Star Trek and being in Star Trek, and removing her from the narrative and giving her being the spokesperson of the fan. That was a great monologue. A lot of people clap and clap, but also in a whole age. But also, it's kind of funny to have this monologue about inspiring the fan when Stranger World is in this episode yet again, shying away from tackling what makes Star Trek a 60-year-old franchise. I think I was telling you, like, what is TNG without Measure of a Man? Like, those episodes need to happen in Star Trek. They are why the fans are still here. And I love the aesthetic of the character. I think the monologue was great, but also I was very disappointed that she was out of the narrative, Johnny Claus, as not an actor, but an agent. And so, yeah, they did a great job. They were fantastic. Like, the monologue was really well done, but for me, it's kind of bittersweet that Johnny Claus and Celia don't get to be inside of the narrative of the making TOS meta story.
Now that you've mentioned that, it feels so. I had actually been thinking about, it's kind of weird to me that Mbenga's character is basically just Chapel's arm candy and doesn't really do any. I don't know why the heck this character is there. And now that you've mentioned that, it's like, oh, well, it's kind of the same thing with Joni. So you've kind of sidelined your two Black characters, and it never gets brought up that Ortegas's character, Lee Woods, is Latina. Mm-hmm. And it's, I mean, I feel like it's almost there, like
it's almost there every time.
With Lee Woods having like this obsession with writing Westerns. Like, maybe she has an obsession for writing Westerns because Latinos in Westerns were in the Western world were basically written out of the narrative, even though they were all over the place as cowboys, but it just doesn't get addressed.
And
so
see, for example, like if you compare this to the Elysian Kingdom just having the book and having the author written, like put the whole story into a whole different way of seeing what is happening in that episode. And I feel it's always like very easy little things to make sure that your episode kind of get inscribed in the greater stories of Star Trek, and not only the how they make the holodeck, why there's a secondary source, but also if it's an episode speaking about how Star Trek was made and the people who made Star Trek and how they inspired the fan, why sideline Celia? Why sideline Uhura in that narrative? And I love the monologue. Again, I think it was great, but it's kind of hypocritical in an episode who refuses to go into the nitty-gritty of also what Gene Roddenberry, not the nitty-gritty, but the big picture, I would say, of what Gene Roddenberry had to fight a lot to get on TV. I know it was not a forbidden thing, like, it was kind of like, it's 66, like it's not like 52. So it's already a big topic to have Black actors on TV, but it's still a thing he did and he didn't have to, I am kind of on the fence about this. Again, as you said, Mbenga, it's kind of like a little bit of Gene Roddenberry with the thing with Michelle, right? And like
Yeah.
the arm candy there and there. But again, he's like a rock star. And you're like, okay, how does it fit in the meta narrative that you're trying to tell me about inspiring people to make TV show that will inspire people to be scientists and greater and so on? And we know how many people Nichelle Nicole inspired to go to space, and she's not even a little bit referenced anywhere in the show, though we have like minutes and minutes about Shatner spoke weird. Choices were made.
I'll argue that this was probably like, because you had said earlier in the episode too, that maybe it's a good thing they didn't go that far, because again, not everybody's going to understand these references and pick these things up like we do. And I know that this show has also been geared to try and bring in new fans. And all of a sudden, if you're going super meta, I think that could maybe like take people out of the episode.
But they go super meta when it comes to Shatner, but not when it comes to the black actors.
But Shatner's like, it's like
And
that shit's like pop culture. I don't think most of the
Lucille Ball thing is not pop culture. That she sold her house and all that, that is not pop culture.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, I'm saying Shatner was.
No, but that they go very meta on things that, are relevant to a certain category of fans, but not the others. And I'm like, Stranger World has been very white, let's be honest. And I'm just sad that when they speak about the making of TOS, they just sideline totally Nichelle Nicole's story and like chose to go. I mean, I love Lucille Ball. I'm very happy there was more about Lucille Ball. I love that there was about Michelle, but why not Nichelle Nicole's? Why nothing? Nothing, Julian. Not even a thing. Not even one thing.
I don't disagree with you about that. I was actually going to agree with it, but I did want to say that, like, again, you make it all of a sudden that the entire episode, I think it takes not just about Nichelle, but just if the decision to just go completely meta and make it about that whole story, then all of a sudden I think you are maybe alienating like the less hardcore Trekkie fan base. My 2 cents.
I think they're being shy. And they've been shy. They've been shy a lot since season 1.
Fair.
Merger and stuff. And evil white guy in charge. But, that's where we miss Gene.
I don't even know where to go from that. I really liked it. I loved sorry, I'm totally thrown off now. I really liked Rebecca Romaine like doing the Lucille Ball thing. I picked that up right away. I loved the style. I loved the outfit. I thought that Anson, even though like Giraffe said, is not like 100% Gene, it's Gene enough, and it's very good from like things that you've read about Gene. And again, like stuff that like if you do know the story a little bit, you will definitely pick those things up. And I think Anson did a terrific job, and I think that Rebecca Romaine did an excellent job. And yeah, I actually do agree with you, Giraffe. I was wondering why are they not doing Nichelle?
They could have done a skit about like having like people kiss other people on show.
It didn't again, like, and I don't think they needed to go full meta with it. I really don't. But I think it could have been touched upon, because I kept wondering who is Joni? Because everybody else kind of was someone, and Joni was a new character. So I do agree with you on that.
She's the fans.
Yeah, she's the fans. So I do agree with you on that. I just, again, it's like, where's the line? Whether you're right, they're playing it safe, or it's just they decided not to cross a certain line. That being said, it was super fun. Before we go on, I am lucky enough to get to watch the show with one of my kiddos every week. And this was their first Holodeck episode, and they loved it and loved Amelia Moon. So they wanted to say a few things about what they liked about the murder mystery and the Holodeck. Cecily, come here.
Hi.
Come on in. What do you have to say about this episode?
It was really great. I really like the twist at the ending where like it was like like where like she found out it was Spock.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
And you liked Amelia Moon a lot, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I thought the character was just so cool.
Nice. Anything else?
Favorite costume?
I really did like the costumes.
Here we go.
Giraffe was just asking me to ask you what was your favorite costume.
Oh. I really did like Amelia Moon's costume. Like, it was so, like, I loved the hat and, like, the hairstyle.
Nice. Good? Awesome. Well, give a round of applause, everybody. Virtual round of applause for Cecily. Thank you for coming on and sharing your bit.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
Bye.
To bed with you. I just have to say I loved watching this with them, and immediately, like, this is like such a good like gateway show sometimes, because we watched this and they immediately turned to me and goes, "Dad, that was awesome. I loved that." And then immediately
Show
went
them.
into sorry?
Right. Show them Bride of Celtica, which is the second gayest episode.
I will.
Holodeck episode.
I will, but I showed them the big goodbye first because it was like the first holodeck episode, and they really enjoyed that one as well. It was really fun.
So drama.
Yeah, the drama. I love the drama.
Drama.
Yeah. Let's get more into this. So early on, La'an realizes that she's one-upped the holodeck and that it starts to one-up her by killing Sonny Lupino. So she requests a partner, and it happens to be Spock, who is very cold and logical, which he says in, I think, in this episode, you know, words that have been used to describe me. During this job as Amelia Moon's assistant, did you guys suspect anything early on, MC?
No, I really didn't. And that is, I'm going to say, I understand why the B-plot didn't use Spock at all. But when I was rewatching it today, I was just like, wait, the ship is going to fall into a neutron star. Where the fuck is Spock? If he's not actually on the holodeck, where is he? Is he
Beta
like
shift.
stuck in a room somewhere?
Delta
Oh,
shift.
Spock does not respect shifts. He ends up on the bridge when he's needed. But yeah, no, I did not expect it at all because it made sense to me, because I was like, whoa, these two want to bang each other. Of course he's going to end up on the holodeck.
Screw the ship.
Yeah.
And yeah, he is more cold and analytical than the emo Spock that we've been experiencing over the last couple seasons of Strange New Worlds. But for the situation, I didn't have a problem with it, because that's kind of always been the dynamic that he's had with La'an. That they're both more logical and can talk to each other on this very intellectual level. And since he was supposed to approach things from this detached point of view, and also, why is Spock going to invest any emotionality in this situation, considering it's just a bunch of holograms? So it did not bother me at all. I did not see it coming. And yeah, it was well done that I did not, that rewatching it, it's like, oh yeah, I should have seen this. But yeah, they did it well.
Nice. Giraffe?
Yeah, I thought it was weird he was not in costume. I didn't like that. And that's the only thing where I was like, why is he not in costume? And also how the other character react to him kind of threw me off, because they're all cool with Amelia Moon and like whoever is like roaming around. And you know how holodeck stories go, like you just show up with a psychic and all the characters are like, yay. You know, in Crisis Point, for example, nobody questions like characters, like actual humans, like coming in and out of like the story, because they're characters, right? They're NPCs. So that was weird to me, because I was like, if he's entering the holodeck and he's wearing his uniform, then the other character should just see him as another character. Why is like, who is that man? Like, why are they so thrown off about him? So that was weird to me. But also, I thought, in TNG, they put their costume before getting into the holodeck. And I thought, like, he was coming to help, so he didn't put a costume. But that still didn't explain why the holodeck characters were reacting so weird to him and not to Amelia Moon. So that threw me off. I was trying to figure out.
Well,
like,
Amelia
why are
Moon
they so-
is a real person in their universe.
Yeah, I know, but like when you add a person to the story, they just become a part of the story, right? The AI adapts to whatever, like your one player or your two players.
The only
And it
reason I'm
didn't.
arguing with you on this is because I just watched The Big Goodbye, and everybody in the program reacts really weird when Data comes on, even dressed as one of like the Dixon Hill characters. People are like, who the hell is this guy? And they have to like make shit up and be like, he's from South America.
Yeah, it's still like even when she explains who he is, they still like are triggered by him over and over and over again. The whole thing, they're like not okay. It's like, why is he wearing
maybe it's because they
pajamas?
know he's a rogue AI.
And that's it. And I think that that's the only thing I clocked, because I didn't think he was, not Spock, because we didn't see him in the B-plot, which I think is a missed opportunity. I know people like surprises, but I like trying to figure out things faster than TV. So if you give me like kind of part of the answer, I'm gonna be like trying to like figure out, okay, if he's at two places at the same time, what is happening, how and why, right? And that would have been for me more interesting. But I like people are like, no spoiler, I need to know, surprise, but whatever. But when I rewatched it on Whole H, I was mind blown by Ethan Peck's work. When you watch it twice, you realize he plays totally differently the AI Spock, the holodeck Spock, than he plays the actual Spock. And it's not that subtle, to be honest. It is subtle because like nobody clocked it the first way around, right? But you can really see his eyes, his facial expression, his way of moving are so different, which also kind of go back to when he's like dancing tango, and he's not dancing tango. He's doing the right move, but he doesn't have the emotion behind it, or he's not putting the emotion behind it. And I thought it was so interesting that the holodeck operated out of what the holodeck thought Lahan thought of Spock, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Drawers, and portrayed a Spock that basically helped her clock that the way she's seeing Spock and the way she actually sees Spock are two different things. And I thought that was a great point of the episode, even if they don't ever go there. But I thought it was the most interesting thing in the episode, that the mental image you have of somebody when you conjure them, right? And the way you actually see the details you see in a person are way two different things. If I had to recreate you guys in a holodeck, you would be so slightly different that you would have an uncanny valley,
Yeah, 100%.
I am scared of what you would do to me in a holodeck.
Same.
You know what I mean? Like the way that when you don't see the person and the way you're going to conjure the face or the facial impression goes through your own bias always, because, we say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but also the way you read the person. And when you would compare that fake holodeck person and the actual person, then you would see the difference, and you'd be like, oh, they have so much more in their eyes, they have so much more in each gesture they do that I can't conjure, because we inconsciently read all that. And I thought that was a beautiful point, because over and over again, Spock is so misunderstood by everybody, not because they can't understand him, it's because they keep conjuring that fake image they have of him over and over again. And I thought it was really beautiful that at the end, that's what she clocks, that his eyes are not like this. His way of speaking is not like this. It is not that cold, emotionless being that they want to think Spock is. And when she suddenly is put in front of that character that she thinks Spock is, she realized it's not true. And I thought it was the most beautiful thing in the episode.
It was really good. It was really good.
But
we're going to talk more about that.
they cannot brush out of this. They can go. You have to stop and watch it 3 times and be like, Oh,
Mm.
that is an interesting
Kind of
point.
reminds me of the Black Mirror episode Be Right Back, the one where Domhnall Gleeson dies and then comes back as a robot. And it's
Yes.
like made up of his social media. And like he's very much him, except there's just like subtle differences, like stuff that he wouldn't write about online.
Mhm.
So yeah, it is kind of like very much
Oh,
the
even the
same.
doppelganger like stories, you know, that when you see a doppelganger, there's something slightly weird about them on the way they're like conjuring that person that makes you clock that it is not that person. I like that. Too
Yeah.
bad they didn't make it a point.
So as this keeps going, by the way, I did not suspect Spock until La'an's eyes went, oh, we're going to talk more about that in a bit. As they start getting close, we should come up with a funny not Spock name. They get close. Spock saves La'an from from a falling chandelier, and the two realize, because La'an gets a nick on her cheek, that the safety protocols are bye-bye, gone, and they can't leave. We even get, I love the line, I don't care how cheesy it is to put in there, Spock says computer arch, and I really wanted an arch, and we didn't get one. A small moment, but what did we think about this, MC?
I mean, it had to happen. Like, they're testing out the holodeck for the first time. Like I said, this is the quintessential holodeck episode. Of course, the safeties are going to end up being off. I did kind of roll my eyes a little bit just because it is such a rote point for the holodeck, and we know nothing is going to happen to them. It's like they could have figured out a way to make it not have to use that, especially since we do find out it is the computer who's doing it. So I feel like the computer shouldn't want to hurt La'an. And so I'm not sure about it. In the moment watching it, I was fine. Like, I will just say to everybody, everything that I'm saying critically about this episode is me in the aftermath thinking back on it and trying to be an actual media critic. But in the actual watching of this episode, I just watched this episode. This is such a great turn the brain off episode. So, but yeah.
Nice. Giraffe?
I forgot the question.
Of course you did.
Because I rambled.
You did not ramble. What did you think about
because I answered a text and then I forgot. I can multitask.
What did you think about the safety protocols going off, the chandelier falling, and the computer arch moment?
That's why I ground audibly in the episode, because I was like, for sure, the fucking thing is dangerous, which is like 101 plot of holodecks. I thought the B plot was sufficient for me. Like, I really like the plot of like, you're having fun in your little holodeck, meanwhile everybody's fucking dying. I thought it was really interesting. Because again, I read too much into things. Me, never. And I have gotten shit online for going to conventions and doing cosplay and speaking about Star Trek when the world is falling apart around me and around us, around everybody, I guess. And it was a good metaphor to me in this moment, having somebody having fun on the holodeck on their favorite novels from when they were a kid, while the world around them is literally falling apart. So I didn't need the safety protocol trick. I think it kicked the thing into gear where it gives more tension to the characters in the story, in the A plot, having to solve the thing. But I kind of like wickedly and kind of psychotically like the idea of having somebody just having the time of their life on the holodeck while that same thing they're enjoying is basically causing the death and disrepair of the actual ship.
Yeah,
and I thought it would have been a good metaphor for like just existing in climate change.
Yeah.
It did kind of rob the scene of Scotty actually breaking into the holodeck through the the film of any tension because they were already like, oh, this place is dangerous. We've got to solve the mystery so we can get out of it. But then Scotty is able to come in and it's like, there's bad stuff happening outside. You guys have got to solve the mystery. And it's like, yeah, they were kind of doing that already. Like but if they had been just having like a good old time on the holodeck and that Scotty scene had happened, it would actually have had some tension.
Because she would have the tension anyway when Scotty shows up and be like, everybody, like all the system are shutting down. That is the ultimate thing, right? And it's not, and knowing Lahan also, like the thing is trying to kill me, fuck you. I'm gonna kill you. But the thing is like de facto killing everybody else around me, puts more pressure on Lahan than having a thing trying to crash her onto a chandelier. So I think it was superfluous. And it was, I know it's a classic holodeck story, so they had to have the safety protocol problem, but I didn't personally need it. It was for me, it falls into fan service that
it's totally fan service.
Maybe didn't need in that episode.
I'm the fan service king of the pod. I love fan service. I'm here for fan service. The only fan service I didn't get was Spock saying the damn line, computer arch, and not getting the arch. Like I said, I just wanted to see the arch. Like literally have the arch appear for a second and then disappear and then be like, oh shit, that would have been cool. But give me the damn arch. I was here for the fan service. I loved it. Jesse goes, I am a fan. Please serve me. Yes, agreed. So Amelia and Spock continued their interviews, and I want to highlight their interview with Anson's somewhat version of Gene and Celia's Joni Gloss. These were standouts. Giraffe, you were mentioning in the speech earlier, commenting on the issues of Trek and behind the scenes. But like you mentioned earlier, that Joni is the fans in this situation, getting, that point of view about how Trek, or in this instance, The Last Frontier, could have gone on forever. What did we think about, Gene talking, not Gene, but Anson Gene talking about being canceled and Joni's speech here, MC?
I will just say, in terms of other interviews, I absolutely loved Holodeck Spock just straight up asking Maxwell Saint, did you kill him?
Yeah.
It was just so good because that was like the first question that came out. But Anson's acting really impressed me in this because he is so different from Pike. His physicality is different. He seemed so like hunched up and just
a pot belly.
Yeah, he just, everything about him changed, and he seemed meek, which is one of the reasons why I felt like, okay, so he's Gene Roddenberry, but I think they're like folding in some of the other writers who worked on Star Trek.
Ellison. Yeah. I read him as Arlen Ellison from top to bottom, and not Gene Roddenberry at all. Like, anyway, sorry.
It's okay. Well, I mean, he's Gene Roddenberry in the fact that he did invent the show. And, I think there was a little bit of TNG thrown in there where they're
we're replacing you with Berman. Yeah.
So he was fantastic. I loved him in this. And just the way that he played with Ethan and Chrissy. And it's been so interesting seeing the different characters that Anson has played. Because I was then thinking of him in the Elysium Kingdom, him playing that slimy
Weasel
servant. Yeah. And they always seem to find something very different for him. And I really enjoy it. He does have an amazing range. So it was very cool. And Celia, as I've already said, I think that she is my favorite in terms of acting on the holodeck. I did really like her big speech. I do understand Giraffe's points about how there was a vacuum by not having Nichelle there. But I could also see little glimmers of things that Nichelle had said in her speech, like talking about inspiring people to go into science, even though it's a silly little space show. And I'm like, oh, okay, they're sliding that in because of that. So I really quite enjoyed that.
Nice. Giraffe?
Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of like that, MLK told her to stay on the show kind of lore thing, which, okay, I'm gonna get hate mail, but I fucking hate that story. I'm gonna tell you why. Because the number of time I was told to stay into a position that was difficult to me, not paying me, not rewarding to me, and not helpful to me because it meant something for somebody else. And that basically I had to sacrifice what I wanted to do because it was the good thing to do for other people. Like, I know she inspired me and she inspired many people, and I'm very grateful she stayed on the show. But I also, in itself, kind of hate the fact that she was miserable and wanted to go and was made to stay. And that's a thing that we can also all address into the fact that having to do the work of being the representation, of being the token, of being the person that is here to educate everybody who doesn't want to be educated is not rewarding. And sometimes you just want to do something that is rewarding for you. And that is a thing that is a lot to so many people, but not us in certain situation. So I always felt kind of like,
I totally get it. And I always hate the beginning of that story where it's Nichelle wasn't happy with her role in the show. And it's like, no, that's not what it was. It's Nichelle was getting racist attacks from people on the set. She had her mail thrown out, and she did have her role like drastically cut down. Like they had one script and then the producers would get it and they would slash her lines because they didn't want the black lady to say anything. That's why she wanted to leave, not
And
because she
also-
wasn't happy.
Also, she was a singer and she was getting all this singing opportunity, and that's what she wanted to do, to sing and dance. And I mean, again, incredibly grateful that she stayed on the show. Changed my life. But it's always kind of bittersweet because, again, the things that you have to do, being the token, the number of time where I am the token on the panel, on God knows where, because, well, you need somebody to be there, and it ended up being me. And I sometimes don't. Sometimes I don't want to do it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very happy to be here, for example. But sometimes I don't fucking want to be there, And I still do it because I feel bad. And I'm like, if I don't do it, then there's gonna be like only a bunch of white guys, and then what, But so I always felt like kind of conflicted about that story. And I always felt also kind of conflicted about the fact that Harold has like such a great story, because nobody ever speak about being in the position of having to do something you don't fucking want to do, that is so hard on you, and where people are horrible to you because it's the right thing to do. And I'm like, it's like the biracial kiss, like like their kiss thing, where basically, they had to do it over and over again because Kirk Shatner wanted it into the thing. It's always a question of like, what is my consent in this situation, and what is my position? So again, going back to this question, sorry, sideline.
No, before you go, I do want to say I really agree with you on this, and I even want to take it a step further, and I say it's not even, God, is it even the right thing to do, right? Like, maybe it's not the right thing to do, but when, and this is not a defense in any way, but like, God, you have Martin Luther fucking King asking you to stay on Star Trek, telling you you're inspiring these people who are watching you on the TV to stay, whether it's the right thing or to do or not. Like, that's just that's an ask, it's insane. So yeah, like I totally
Absolutely.
agree with you. Yeah.
I mean, like, would I've done it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Again,
right. Exactly.
Incredibly thankful that she did.
Yeah.
Incredibly thankful. But it's always the question of, being put in a situation where you're like, you need to be here and suffer because you need to educate others.
Right.
And you're like, but nobody is being asked to do this for me.
Right.
And, I like the monologue. I thought it was a good, hey, we're going to talk about the fans. And I feel that maybe Lower Decks did it better. But I like this meta narration, right? And I think it was the only moment where everybody like erupted in cheers and clapped in Whole Age. It was at that moment. I think for me, the other episode that does this like questioning the fan position into Star Trek Legacy is All Words a Stage. And with that meta narration also of being a fan and being a fan of something that is bigger than you and how it inspired. So it was interesting. It just was kind of disconnected for me. But I liked it and everybody loved it in Whole Age. I don't remember where I was going with that, but
that's one, and it was a great answer. Two, yeah, that was the moment in Whole Age. It's funny talking about this moment specifically because I really loved the speech as well as a fan because Joni/Celia are speaking for us, right? And like the fact that here we are almost 60 years later, and this show just continues to go and go. And yes, it's had its stumbles and it's had its not great moments and it's had a lot of great moments, and we're still here. And watching the screener for this, Karen was watching me and she goes, well, that was maybe a little bit too on the nose. And I'm like, but no, like I don't know. It was really nice. And it doesn't hurt that like you have Nami having like, you know, the musical cue that she uses for like big, like, you know, hero moments like this. It all just like came together beautifully. And to take it to a comedic moment, it's great that she just ends that with going to like still try and figure out how to find a fucking light for her cigarette. It's just like, it was comedy gold. It was great.
So here's the reason why I don't think it was too much on the nose. Because up until this point, everything about this show has been portrayed as ridiculous. Like we see the first, you know, in the cold open, they reference Spock's brain. And all of the people who are working on the show seem like complete douchebags. So the fact that, and we know that there is kernels of truth in that from the behind the scenes, but still Star Trek has endured. So having that moment of acknowledging, yes, this thing that we love has all of these flaws and, you know, ridiculous people who worked on it, but we still love it. It inspires us. I feel that moment is justified by all of this setup of the ridiculousness.
Yeah, totally agree. Let's talk about the big reveal at the end. So they find the film reel in the fake fireplace. They watch it and are then confronted by not Gene with a gun. I actually forget what Anson's character name was.
TK Bellows.
TK Bellows. They're confronted with TK Bellows with a gun, who is obviously very drunk, who then accidentally shoots Spock. It's then that La'an figures out that Spock is the actual killer and a hologram, just like Hawk. What did we think about the reveal? And I know I already asked this, but did you ever start to see it coming, MC?
I didn't see it coming. As soon as her face started to change when she was hugging Spock, at first I was like, well, what is she is she going to kiss Spock? Is she realizing that she has feelings for him? I thought she already realized that. But then you could see kind of the horror in her eyes, or the realization, and it was a very nice reveal because Spock was accepting of it. It's not like it became like a big climactic, oh, well, I've got to fight you to the death now. Instead, it was a congratulations, Lieutenant. So, yeah, no, I think it was really well done that it wasn't overwrought.
Yeah. Trav?
Sorry.
Dude, I'm going to virtually take away your phone.
Okay. I'm texting Bernadette Croft and she's telling me what the fabric they used in that episode. So I have a pass.
You get a pass.
Thank
get a pass. Only because it's Bernadette.
I'm weird in fabric. Okay. I've been miserable because the fabric district in fashion district in LA is now Ice Central and I can't go because they're just snatching people off the street there. So I've not been, and Joanne has closed, so I've not been able to fabric shop, which is 99% of my work and my nerding out. And so she's showing me patterns of fabric, and I'm like, this is so beautiful. I wish I could touch it. So I'm just fabric nerding out. And I am so sorry. I'm usually not that bad. I'm not that bad, but I had a rough week, you know that.
I know you did. I know you did.
TK Williams.
TK Bellows and the big reveal that Spock, after he gets shot, that Spock was the killer. Yeah.
I thought Ensign Man did an incredible job at being just like insane with like that shaking gun. It was so good. I like how the reveal came on. I liked it. I think it was well brought. I thought that it was well played. Everybody did a good job. And also I was shocked at the reveal. Like when he gets shot and he's like goes, and he like barely reacts. I'm like,
he literally falls like a dead fish, pretty much.
And that's where I was like, wait, that is weird. I think that's the first time I was like, you know? So I like that resolution a lot. I thought it was great. And I like how, because, you know, I don't like people getting hurt. So I like that right away. It was like, oh, you're an hologram program. I was like, oh, he's fine. Then shoot him.
I love that.
I liked it. I like that resolution. I thought it was great. Ensign Man did a great job. I thought every time he gets to do like these side weird assignments, he does a fantastic job. I like seeing him neurotic.
Yeah, no, me too. I asked the collective if they saw it coming too. Jedi Cat, I did not see it coming. Eric the Red Nope had no idea prior to Lon figuring it out. Tara, did I see it coming? I didn't even catch that Una was Lucille Ball. Eric also says, Giraffe, that Bernadette deserves an Emmy, which is very true.
Hey, I mean, I've said it since season 1.
Yeah.
Do I look like I will petition?
Yep. My favorite part about the reveal, and I had not a damn clue until La'an's eyes lit up, was just the way that Hollow. Are we calling him Fork? I like Fork. That Fork says, "Congratulations, Lieutenant La'an Noonien Singh," and just smiles. It's like a weird ass like Boimler smile, like in those old scientists. I really liked it. And then La'an's able to say computer, and she asks. She doesn't demand. She goes, "Computer, end program," and it does, and it's just like it's this great moment. I really enjoyed the reveal quite a bit. Here we go, guys. This episode both begins and ends with La'an and Spock dancing intimately, and ends with, in my opinion, a hot as fuck tango and a kiss. I know that we keep yawning at the romance on Stranger Worlds, but damn, what did we think about this, MC?
I have been saying how goddamn tired I am of Spock in romances, but when we had episode 2 and I watched that as a screener, I texted Julian and it was like, is it weird that I'm shipping Spock and La'an? And then when we came to this episode, I was just like, what? Like, seriously? I am so much like, my reaction to this is so different than any of the other romances on the show. I absolutely hated Spock and Chapel. Everybody knows that. Uhura and Beto, yeah, they're cute and all, but I don't need it. It feels extraneous. And Pike and Battelle, I have no problem with, but it's not like my thing. But this, I'm just like, I want popcorn and I want to enjoy this. Part of it might be the fact that these are two genetically perfect beings that are doing like this sexy dancing, and they're sure filming it like they're genetically perfect beings, because you get like that shot of La'an's leg going up on Spock and it's just like framed on her ass. And I mean, they're gorgeous together. And I think part of it is, and this is another thing I talked about with Jessie, that she had a problem with the suddenness of it. And in my debate of it was the suddenness doesn't actually bother me because they have always had a wonderful chemistry together. I would actually say that Chrissy Chong and Ethan Peck have better chemistry than Jess Bush and Ethan Peck.
It's not even an argument, and I don't think it's even close.
Yeah. And also part of it is the way that the writers are handling it, because they overwrought the whole Spock and Chapel thing. Meanwhile, this is, we know it's going to end. It's obviously going to end. But with this, I know they're going to end off on good terms. I'm going to be so pissed off, though, if it ends off because La'an is like, you're not over Chapel yet. And
well, that would just be stupid and silly. So I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, this does feel to me like I don't think it's going to be a serious relationship. I think they're friends with benefits.
Yeah.
And I'm here for that. This was sexy, and like I said, they're beautiful, and they have such natural chemistry together that, yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Giraffe?
Give her a round, children. Here comes an age where basically you fuck. And I'm here for it.
I'm glad my kid left the room for this part of Giraffe's lesson.
Oh, come on. Like, I feel that those characters are supposed to be in their 30s. You know, they're accomplished people. They have great careers. They do cool shit. God, they do cool shit, you know? And it's like 90% of your life doing cool shit. You know what I mean? And the Chapel was not undeserving because of Chapel, but because how few backstory she had. She was not a full character, right? She had no 2 feet to stand on herself. I think it's the first episode where she says that much thing. Mm-hmm. And like is actually doing something that is not like fawning, you know, and actually standing up for herself. And so that whole romance where it's always kind of like one-sided, and that's why people don't like it, because it's a man that is very defined and has a lot of plot, and you know a lot of things about him, and you know why he's here and what he's doing, with a woman where basically the only reason she's here is because of him. And that is for people like us who are watching the show and are older and are kind of like doing our own things. It's kind of like uninteresting. Though when you have two very hot people who are like very good at their job, or they have their full personalities, and the 2 feet, each of them, they have their 2 feet to stand on the floor, and then they get together, they're like, yes, yes, get that man, let's go. Because you know it's not gonna be one-sided. You know it. There's no like. I don't read it as a miscommunication thing.
No, not at all.
I read it as like they both know what they want and they're both consenting adults. When with Chapel, I was always like, they're not talking the same language. They're not on phase of what they want and what they're doing. They're being meek. They're being like also not easy, not comfortable with each other. Like every time they would talk, you would feel uneasy and you'd be like, oh. Well,
and I think the writers actually did that on. I have to say, I think they did that on purpose to make them feel like these two were just never like a compatible match. Maybe I'm wrong.
For 2 seasons.
I know, for 2 seasons. I know. But damn, too long.
But so I like this because I like power couples. Like that's how I go through life. But you know what I mean? Like you're attracted. I'm attracted to people who are accomplished and don't need me, and I don't need them. And I think that's what it is when you're like older. Also, when you're your whole life, and you're not gonna be like fawning or like needing that other person. And I think it's great. I like this relationship. I'm very sad that she's not gay, but I can't have everything in my life, I guess, so I'll take that. But I think it's great. I think it's actually really hot.
It's so hot. And that's what I want to say. Like, go ahead, Dreff.
No, I'm like, did I need one more romance? Not really. Do I think it's way better than Chapel and Spock? Yeah. Do I think it's more into the narrative of Michael telling him to go towards other people? Yes, because I feel that the way Lahan has been written in Strange World is way more interesting than Chappelle. And that's not fault of the characters, right? It's fault how they were written. Also, the whole Chappelle backstory with Kirk and Tomorrow and all that thing makes her an interesting character
mean
to have
Lon?
a romance.
Lon.
Yeah, sorry,
yeah.
what did you
That's
say?
what you said, Chapel.
I
It's
said
okay.
Chappelle, yeah.
It's all right.
Lon, I think that makes her an interesting character to have a romance. Also, we know that Lon is not a legacy character. So how does that her disappearance, because we don't know what happened to her, like does she go on another ship? Does she die? We don't know. How this will affect Spock is an interesting point. I'm more into looking at this because it's new and it goes nowhere in actual canon so far. So the doors are open. Then Chappelle, where we know exactly where it's going and it's not interesting.
Yeah. No, God, the things that this scene made me feel like when Spock caresses La'an's arm, like I was just like, what is going on here? Why?
What is air?
What? I almost put it, Jane. Like I'll be in my bunk. What is happening? This was. I love this romance. I have to say, going to what MC said, like it's great because these two have had history since season 1, right? They've shared a mind meld.
It's a mind meld.
Yeah, they've
She
shared
knows
a
about
mind
Michael.
meld. She knows about Michael. They are connected in a fun way. And yeah, I think it is going to be friends with benefits. And I want to read Jesse's comments, which crack me up. I don't think Spock is capable of friends with benefits. I think they should, but I don't think that emo kid can do it. God, I hope he can, because I want this to just like be some fucking and then some like see you later and 2 consenting adults having some fun. Holy shit, this is hot. Like they're hot. I'm going to say the word hot a lot more.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
I also like that the actors are closer in age.
Yes. Yeah.
Because Jess Bush is way younger than,
Yeah.
I mean, not way, she's in her 30s, but they're like, Christina Chong, this bitch is 41 years old. Like, how? Like,
So she's
Dude.
actually older than Ethan Peck.
Yeah.
she's older than Ethan Peck. He's like 3 years older than him, you know, but they're like in their 30s,
Yeah.
kinda. Yeah, right? And I'm like, as a woman who's 42 years old, I'm like, work,
Well done. Yeah.
Yeah.
work.
Congressional baseball fan writes, Spock spent many days on that frozen planet in the Kelvinverse thinking back on his time with La'an. Oh boy. That is a good one. Let's move on to the B-plot. I'm giving it all she's got, Captain. We get Scotty in full crisis mode. He's trying to keep the Enterprise together during both La'an's rigorous test of the holodeck and the ship's study of this collapsing neutron star. Una reminds him as alarms start to blare that he is the failsafe if everything just goes wrong. What did we think about getting to see this side of Scotty, a version we've really never seen before, MC?
I am shocked considering how much I dislike Scotty and TOS, how much I adore Martin Quinn's Scotty. He is adorable. He is just like a little puppy who doesn't know what to do, and I love it. But I can still see Jimmy Doohan's Scotty in him, because this whole him trying to do everything by himself, even though it's driving him crazy, that's a very Scotty thing, because he was always, I'm giving it all I got, Captain. And like, there was nobody else working with him in engineering.
No, where the fuck is Pelia?
Well, no,
She's
I
not
mean,
here,
in
they say.
TOS.
Yeah, I know.
She's somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah. In TOS, he's doing everything by himself. And so, I mean, it seems like he doesn't actually learn Una's lesson, other than he's a little more open with the captain and stuff about what's going on. So I think, and I love that this seems like such a perfect use of him to have. Of course, Scotty would be involved in the holodeck. If they're going to bring it in, it has to be Scotty involved in it. Because I think Pelia would be too cool about it.
Yeah.
I don't think she would freak out about it.
She would
And
just
you need
unplug
to-
the thing and be like, whatever.
Yeah,
Bill.
and you need to have an engineer involved in all of this.
Yeah.
And Martin Quinn is part of our main cast, and we haven't really gotten him in a major story. So it is really nice that kind of right out of the gate, here he is. He's going to be a major cast member. It's fantastic. Love it.
It is. Draft, before I let you go, I'm sorry, I totally forgot to read. We got a super chat from Rick Hernandez. Thank you so much for the super chat. That is a big help. Thank you for supporting the show. Apparently, La'an and Spock favorite ship, but didn't make him happy. He says it didn't make me happy. I don't know, maybe if it just they didn't do it right for him. Rick, I'd love to explain that a little bit more, but yeah.
I understand.
Yeah,
that.
and again, like all the romance in the show, like it could get tedious for some people, so I get it. Draft,
yeah.
Scotty.
Well, Scotty, again, this episode, I'm more interested in the
The
B-plot
B-plot.
than in the A-plot, just because it tells something of a human story, you know? And I love the how he comes to ask help to Uhura. And that cracked me up. Also, in the good way of Trinity the Talk Taylor, I have no fucking clue what that bitch is saying, but I'm leaving. I have no idea what that man is saying throughout that whole episode. He's basically Chewbacca to me. He's just like going, and I'm like inferring for what people are answering to him. Because again, I watched with no subtitles until whole age. I was like, that is what is happening.
I literally said to Draft as we're watching the episode in College, I'm like, Draft, look, they have subtitles on the big screen.
I'm like, I have no clue what's going on in engineering. Between Pelly and him, when they're conversing, both of them, I'm just like, I'm going to go get a drink, I suppose. I have no idea. So I like that interaction between him and Uhura and how she's down to like help him, allegedly. If you're a Letterkenny fan, you know, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So I love that there is this connection. I said in a previous podcast that I didn't want Uhura and Scotty to have like that, you know, romance that we see in the movies, for example, or like hinted in the movies. So I like that they're friends. I like this because they're kind of the same age, I suppose. No, he's maybe a little bit older.
He's a little older.
Yeah. But I like this. I like that she's down. She doesn't rat him out. She's like trying to help him. Finds the idea of how to communicate. Oh, are we surprised?
No, not at all. She's a genius.
So I like that, but I also love how Martin Quinn is dealing with, like, we've all been in this situation, like, you know, fake it till you make it. Though he's doing that with a starship. And
The
you're like,
flagship, no less, right? Like,
my dude, you're gonna blow into oblivion like a bunch of people. Stop. But I like that I know Scotty's super problematic in TOS, and we've talked about it, but I love the resourcefulness and the like insanity of the character, because if you've met engineers, you know that
I
it's
know
like
so
they're
many.
they're one step removed from like just banging shit, like percussive maintenance, right? And I really like to see the Scotty that is gonna be in TOS without the problematic shit that is in TOS, because it's a show from the 60s.
Yeah. MC, what did you think about Scotty going to Uhura for help in that scene? Because I love that as well.
Like Giraffe, I was dreading that they might put in hints of Uhura and Scotty in a relationship. This scene, I loved it. I was like, this is what I want. I want them to have this wonderful working relationship with each other that is just, Uhura is just being totally competent, and Scotty is meek and trying to figure things out. And just the way I figured that out from the beginning.
Yes.
It was just so good. So I love them like this. Do not change this at all. Do not. This is perfect.
Not touch this.
Don't touch it. Don't
Not
touch it.
this.
I have
It
to.
is good as it is.
I have to give it a huge shout out to Jonathan Frakes and the cinematographers on this episode for the way they framed the way Scotty and Uhura were talking to each other. Scotty,
Between doors.
yes, exactly. And every now and then, like it kind of focuses on Pike, just kind of looking over, like
What the fuck are
what
they
the
doing?
exactly? What the fuck is this dude doing in my ship? And it's just so perfectly shot for that comedic value. This sent me like, oh, and Martin Quinn is very quickly becoming like the quintessential Scotty. He's
Yeah.
fucking fantastic. I don't know what else we could say about him other than that, like, he's actually Scottish. He can act, and part of the charm of Scotty is not being able to understand him. So bravo, Giraffe. It's great.
Again,
I
like
do love
Chewbacca,
the
I don't even understand what he's
Yeah,
saying.
Lieutenant. I love. Oh God, I love
Most
that
of
he
it is
says that.
techno bubble that means
Yeah,
nothing
exactly.
anyway.
Exactly. I want to end on this one from Enterprise almost getting destroyed by the gamma burst from the neutron star to not being able to communicate with La'an in the holodeck. It is kind of amazing that Scotty ever falls in love with the Enterprise. Maybe it's like Stockholm syndrome at one point, right? Like it's gotta be. It is. He gets a great pep. This is Una's like second good pep talk of the season, by the way. From number one at the end about it, like, this is the best of the best on this ship. 200 of the best Starfleet has to offer. It is okay to ask for help. And we get a bit more also of his backstory, that guilt he feels about what happened on the Stardiver. How nice is it to be getting actual depth into Scotty and seeing once again, I think like Una mentoring this crew in that like true EXO role, MC.
I think that this is great. I don't know how Scotty fell in love with the Enterprise. Stockholm Syndrome does sound like a very good theory for that. And Una taking on this, a captain to her men role of really, Pike is so busy with everything dealing with Patel that I really do like Una kind of stepping in to take care of the officers more. And this talk with Scotty, there is so many people on the ship that he can turn to. Like he must have an entire engineering division that he can work with, but he's not leaning on them. And it could have gotten everybody killed, which is, I don't know if you know this, getting everybody killed is not a good thing.
No,
Bad on your resume.
it doesn't look good.
Yeah. So, but hearing about the Stardiver, it makes complete sense. It is a little hint of PTSD without going into the overwroughtness of everything that's going on with Erica. It's just like this small thing. It's a trigger for Scotty almost. I do have to say, not happy to see Erica back on the bridge already, considering what happened last week. I don't like that. It's like, oh, well, we had to put Erica back on. No, you fucking didn't. There had to be another pilot.
Yeah.
If there's 200
Una's a pilot.
Pike's a pilot.
Pike's a pilot. Yeah.
And there's 203 people on the ship. There must be somebody else.
It's one person that can fly the ship, Erica. One another person.
Yeah, not somebody who's supposed to be on psych leave. But yeah, getting Scotty past this absolutely traumatic experience and get him to actually trust the crew again, which is something that is obviously will happen to him in TOS when that crew becomes his family. So this is kind of a step towards that.
Yeah. Giraffe?
I am always kind of wondering, how do they get people on this ship that just have so much baggage that are like ready to just throw everybody into an explosion because they couldn't ask for help? You're like, dang, you should screen your officer a little bit more.
I mean, Scotty literally crashed onto this crew because he was a stowaway.
I
It's
know, but
hilarious.
you're like,
and
can
they're
you
like,
just,
they
like,
decided
keep
to keep him. Yeah.
It's like a D&D campaign. Like, you found a gnome and now it's yours. And like, what the fuck? Like, you don't know that gnome. Who is that gnome? You don't know him. Then it ends up being the guy who like just fucks up and kills everybody. What do you mean? You imagine the letter to Starfleet? Like, can we just keep him? We found him. Can we keep him?
He really
You're
is
like,
a
"Yeah,
puppy.
whatever."
He's a puppy. Yeah, he's a stray.
We don't have like he doesn't have to go back and give reports. Nah, he's just staying here. It's fine.
No debrief, right?
No debrief, no psych eval, like no like being resigned a little bit on Earth, a little bit like to chill, nah. Back in the fire. Anyway, I think Una I think Una is like finally getting that position of the EXO that we see Riker have, which is the captain is not supposed to deal with like whatever the fuck the crew is feeling. Like that's not what the captain does. The captain is here when there's like a big decision to make, and he's here to like cut it short and take big decision for the whole crew. Not to deal with HR. That's the EXO job, right? Like she knows everybody. She knows how they feel, and they go and she makes sure that everybody's performing well, and that if they need help, they get help. And that's a great job. This is my job, my real life job, and I love it because you get to be close to people and you get to help them like, achieve great things. So I love seeing Una in that job. I love seeing more of Una, first of all, because we didn't see her at all. Like we saw her one episode in season 2 and that's all. And I feel that it's making me sad a little bit. They're like really building her to captaincy.
Yes.
And then she's going to leave and I don't want her to go. But anyway, so I like that B-plot a lot because all of us overachievers, we've been in this position where we knew we were fucking up bad, but we're like, I think I can make it work. If I don't sleep for 3 days, I'm insane right now because I had a big deadline today and I have not slept since like before Comic-Con, I think. And I'm like, if I can do the thing, I will do the thing. I'm gonna do the thing. And in French we say, you never better served than by yourself.
Say it in French.
On n'est jamais aussi bien servi que par soi-même.
Sounds so much better.
It
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
does.
right. I don't know. I made it up in English, but and I feel that it's a double-edged sword, right? Like, yes, if I have high standard, then it's mine to do because I know my own standard. But also, when it's a matter of life and death, ask for fucking help, my man. And then there's this whole story about the Star Diver. It makes you think. Like people come with stories and background, and it's the EXO's job to like help them grew into that position. And I really liked that B-plot. I thought it was really good. And it was also bringing something to the viewer. I'm like, yeah, I should ask for help more.
Yep.
So before I drown and I go insane and then I ask help when I'm already insane, what's the point? So I really, really appreciated that B-plot. I thought these 2 episodes are like seeing people like little cracks and how those little cracks when they're unattended become real issues for everybody. I think it's a beautiful message. Like, take care of each other, take care of yourself. So yeah, I really like that B-plot. I thought it was beautiful.
Totally agree. Let's end this before final thoughts because this episode does have a ton of Easter eggs. I want to talk about the fact that this is a Frakes episode. Just all the TOS nonsense. Anybody have anything quickly they wanted to mention that we may have missed during the show?
My absolute favorite is in the end credits when Paul Wesley tries to do the Riker.
Oh my god, the chair, the chair. Can somebody fix the chair? I can't work like this. It's so fucking good.
So I really hope that wasn't in the script. That was Frakes who was just like, do it.
Yeah, right. Genius. Yeah.
For me, my favorite Easter eggs is people face planting into doors. DME, I have a whole videos of people through different Star Trek series face planting into doors. I think I sent them to Julian way back when. I have one from Picard where Narek, what's his name?
Harry Styles. No. Harry Treadway. No, that's wrong.
Harry Treadaway. Repeatedly face plants into the doors in Picard. I am obsessed by the fact that those doors are just operated by a dude that doesn't pay attention. I love it. And through 60 years of Star Trek, they had people face planting into doors. And from a person that face plant very often, you can all attest. It speaks to me, and that was my favorite Easter egg. I was so obsessed. Also, the person in the full makeup, like alien, that is just wearing Converse and
it's so
a gin.
good.
I love this. I love how TV is made. I think that's not a mystery. I love to see the backstories. If you want to know more about this, watch The Center Seat. That's a great show to see how Star Trek was made. There's also a lot of books. Speaking of this, read Beyond Uhura by Initial Nichols, I Am Spock and I Am Not Spock by
Leonard Nimoy.
You have also From Slavery to Star Trek, was written by the assistant of Gene Kuhn, was one of the first Black women working in the actual Star Trek offices. Like, all those books exist. I'm insanely knowledgeable for no good reason about this. So this end thing hit all the spots for me.
I have one to end on, and I have to ask a very serious question. Frakes has lines in the episode.
Yeah.
You hear him in the background because they're asking for their lines. Like, no, it's this, it's that. Does this mean that the record goes on of Frakes appearing in the? It needed to be an appearance. But did it need to be see him?
Well, okay, I have to rewatch it because I've not rewatched it since Whole Age. But Jess Bush says that he's hiding behind a plant in one of the shots because they kept okay, so apparently they kept cracking up when Una dies for no good reason, because I don't know why, but apparently this scene they had to reshot 17,000 times because they keep laughing, and every time that Babs laughs, apparently everybody laughs because he has an insane laugh. So they had to reshoot that thing 17,000 times, and apparently at one time they finally got it, and Frakes is hiding behind of the plant, and he says like, "You're doing a great job."
Oh my
Everybody
God.
lost it again. I wonder if you cannot maybe see.
All right, now we have to go and look for
very-
Frakes in the episode.
because apparently she says he's in shot, so I don't know if he's in shot of the camera
final
and
cut,
cut
yeah.
him, or if he's in shot and they kept it, because if they kept it, that's insane.
It
I
is.
would love this.
Same. That's it for me. Those were great. Let's do final thoughts. Giraffe, your final thoughts on A Space Adventure Hour.
Fun episode, gorgeous decor, costumes, music, everything. I'm waiting for an episode that tickles my brain a little bit more.
Fair. MC.
An Amelia Moon costume will be coming eventually.
Ooh.
I absolutely
Amelia
need to do
Moon?
that.
Amelia Moon.
And this episode, it seriously, I was just able to shut my brain off and enjoy it. I know that there's flaws in it. I don't care. This was just fun and also sexy when I didn't need it to be sexy. It just was. And this is going to be an episode that if I am down and need some just good vibes, I'm going to put on.
Yeah, I adore this episode. I still say Shuttle to Confori is my favorite of the season. This is probably runner-up. It's a lot of fun. It's a holodeck episode. Frakes, as always, just knocks out banger after banger. I think he's a great director. We could do literally, we've been talking about it, a whole episode just on the costumes of this episode, of the set dressing, everything. This is fun. I'm so glad I got to watch it on a massive screen. That made it even better. Just so much fun. Let's get to the subspace to pull and mailbag. Let's do it.
Hailing frequencies open.
And we asked Trek Threads what they thought about A Space Adventure Hour, and this is what they had to say. Who wants to take the to poll?
I can take it.
Do it.
We
looking
asked
for it.
Trek Threads what we thought about A Space Adventure Hour, and this is what they had to say at the time of this episode. 55% said the game's afoot. 14% said two to tango. 5% said computer arch. And 27% said computer and program.
All right. And then we will go right into mailbag. Draft, can you take Matt Harker's, please?
Matt Hawker wrote, "I love the premise of Adventure Space Hour." Space Adventure Hour?
Space Adventure Hour, yeah.
Of course, they need to test the holodeck somehow, but did they have spent all of Carol Kane's salary on such amazing sets and costumes?
Yes.
Yes.
I did love the nods to Lucille Ball, and of course Paul Wesley's take on Shatner, and the misunderstood holodeck prompt a la Elementary Dear Data. If the deleted scenes in the steelbook don't include an extended blooper reel, I'm going to riot. However, they had to muck up what started off as a truly novel twist of an episode with another Spock romance. Enough already. Barely an 8 for me. Purely because of the Spock romance and doing Lan dirty. Her character is better than that. Sidebar. Did she violate girl code? I wonder what happens when Christine
Finds out.
What?
Finds out.
Finds
I think.
out.
Yeah. Yep.
Who cares? They're broken.
Who cares?
We were broken up.
we were on a break.
She's got somebody else.
She's literally like engaged. Yeah, there's no breaking of the code
She
there.
broke up with Spock, which means that anybody.
Yeah, 4 times.
Yeah, 4 times. So
Yeah.
Spock is open for business.
Indeed he is. Oh, wow. I will take Travel Ladies 12, and this is their first mailbag. Thank you for putting a mailbag in. And they wrote, crazy fun, homage to TOS and TNG holodeck episodes. Nice reference to Lucille Ball. Caught immediately that Lon made the same error as Data. How did he not learn of this? I like Spock and Lon's dancing, and Christina and Ethan's chemistry is great. But why, oh why, did they have to kiss computer and program? I think Spock needs a mind meld for himself to get rid of all his feelings for his colleagues. First Christine, now La'an. Oh dear. Lastly, Paul Wesley Shatner Kirk imitation is hilarious. Very nice, very nice. And then MCQ, take K-dubs, please.
K-Dubs wrote, I enjoyed the hell out of this episode. Homage to Desilu, TOS, and Lucille Ball. Spock and Lon's dancing. Both instances were hot off the charts. Loved the holodeck is not quite ready yet, but the groundwork for it is now there. Scotty being briefed about being a part of the crew and asking for help when needed. I was skeptical about the La'ak romance, but I will give it time. Paul Wesley was an absolute riot with his Kirk, then attempted Riker maneuver.
So good. So good. Can you take Dana's, please, Giraffe?
Dana wrote, "Still up. I love this episode so much. It kept me guessing, laughing, and going until the very last moment. Scotty is the cutest little lost puppy with PTSD, and I just want to hug him. So much delightful fan service that everyone has already brought up. But oh my fucking god, my prediction was right, and Lan is getting some happiness for once. Spock and Lan are HOTTOGO. Give me all the steamy tango arm brushes and passionately soft kisses. I can't wait to see where the storyline goes next."
HOTTOGO.
Not singing.
Sorry, I had to.
These two are hot when they tango.
Thank you, MC, for supporting me. I'll take Michelle, who wrote, still on the fence with this one. The costumes and designs were fabulous. They leaned hard into the campy nature of it. As someone who grew up on TOS, I appreciated the homage to the original series, and Frakes did a good job bringing out the callbacks and fun nature of TOS, but some parts just fell flat for me. It felt a little bit too meta at times, like the parodying of Roddenberry and Shatner was fun, but after a few minutes I was ready to move on with the story. I'm also kind of tired of the show trying to make Spock a romantic leading man. It's feeling forced. I love Ethan Peck, but he deserves better stories than just getting yet another love interest. Same for Christina Chong, too. The scene between Scotty and Uhura on the bridge was fun to watch. Sally Rose Gooding is a gem, and I always want to see more of them. I also like how they explain the testing of the holodeck. I guess Pike's report got lost at some point. Anywho, it was a fun romp, but I don't think it's on the same level as Subspace Rhapsody or those old scientists. Thank you, Michelle. And then MCQ, take Mars's, please.
Mars wrote, I did like most of this episode. So fun to see all the nods to the past. So beautiful to behold. I was not pleased at the retcon of Spock's ancestor being Sir Arthur Conan Doyle versus making Sherlock Holmes a real person in the Star Trek universe. Fucking up the Riker maneuver feels correct, but I'll give Mr. Wesley his flowers. He did great in this one, and I really wish we could forego the coupling happening, but you know what? Get your fuck on, Mr. Spock. Hit it.
God, I love a Mars mailbag so much. Draft, can you take Johnny Maguro's, please?
Johnny Meguro wrote, "Admittedly, I've never been a huge fan of holodeck episodes. in any of the series. So I'm fine with putting this episode in the not for me category. That being said, it looked beautiful, and I'm happy to have any new Star Trek. After all, when Strange New World was finished its run, we'll always have this episode to go back and rewatch, and who knows, maybe this episode will grow on me. In any case, I'm looking forward to a less gimmicky episode next week. I swear I did not write that.
No, I don't believe you. No, I'm kidding. I don't think this is a spoiler. I will say that next week's episode is not gimmicky. So there you go. There's a nugget for
Hey,
you.
I
I
don't
mean,
know what
every
the-
Star Trek episode's a little
gimmicky.
This guy
but-
has these guys have told me 17,000 times what the next week episode is about, and I've again forgotten.
I will
Surprise.
I will take us back with Asher at the Bats, who wrote, "Oh, I love a holodeck episode or recreation room episode. If I remember correctly, there hasn't been one in live action since Enterprise. I can understand why this one might not hit it for some folks, but it's such a classic Trek trope, it needed to be done. And as much as I actually adore a classic clip show episode a la Riker dream sequence on the bio bed, oh my God, no. I hope they don't try that particular trope. I do want to give a special shout out to the cast for their entertaining acting as alternate characters on an alt-TOS production. Anson Mount in particular stole the scenes for me with his best Gene Roddenberry, Harlan Ellison. This one is fun as a rewatch, and that's what I ask for the most in Trek." Wow. This was one of my favorite episodes to review with you guys. I had a blast tonight. I hope you had a blast. Collective, we hope you had a blast. That is going to do it for us tonight. Join us next week for our review of episode 305 of Strange New Worlds, Through the Lens of Time. Like, sub, hit the bell, do all that fun stuff. And if you are part of the late night crew, join me directly following this, let's say 12:25 for our 12:25 a.m., 9:25 p.m. Pacific for a watch along of a space adventure hour. We will see you next week. For MC, for Giraffe, I am Julian. Live long and prosper. There it is. Majram. And we will give it to Uhura here to take us out.
You fly safe out there.
Thanks for beaming into our podcast today. If you want to keep the hailing frequencies open, you can subscribe on Apple and Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Like what you hear? Put in a good word with Starfleet and leave us a 5-star review.